What's good? You're watching Cat's Corner here at DJ's Universal Comics in Studio City, California.
Wait, pause. Good. Pull the mic down a little bit. I want to see your face. Yeah. You don't want to eat that mic. I know it's tasty.
The bears might go crazy.
We've been saying that for years.
Hey, welcome to Cat's Corner, West Hollywood edition. I'm your bear host, Tory Mell.
He already announced himself, but we have a very special guest, Tory Mell, the author of Equilibrium Gun Kata Casebook #1, based on the feature film starring Christian Bale, Equilibrium. How you doing, Tory?
I'm super rad. How you doing? Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, for sure. Thanks for coming through. Really appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
I've been told that this is your first time writing a comic book.
This is my comic book cherry that's been popped. It's my very first book. I'm a huge comic book fan. I've been with Cat's been my
15,
dealer at least
15 years at least.
Oh, more than
that.
Because I've been married for 11 years almost.
Oh my
so like
God,
20 years,
20
I would
years,
say.
yeah.
So I'm a giant comic book nerd. I love comic books. I've been reading them forever, thanks to Cat and The Flash, which was my first love, and my buddy Amit turned me on to him. And I just have worked in this industry for the past 8 years. And then one of the people I met, a gentleman named Jim Kahurik, who used to be at Avatar, is now with American Mythology, asked me if I wanted to write, if I was interested in writing. And I was like, yeah, dude. Which I write screenplays and stuff like that, just never went into the comic book world. And I was like, sure. And he's like, what do you know about Equilibrium? I'm like, everything, because I'm the only person on the planet that went and saw it in the theater. I love Kurt Wimmer.
You definitely. I saw it on DVD.
I remember there's in Los Angeles, where I'm from, there's a movie theater across the street from the Beverly Center where I went and saw it by myself. There's not a single person there, and I'm like,
Tarantino's?
No. It was like a GCC,
got it.
Some whatever that should have been destroyed a long time ago, which it's now gone. But it was awesome, and I'm like, this movie is fucking the best. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah,
I'm going, yeah. And from then, I just loved it, and then Kurt Wimmer, who directed it and did Ultraviolet, right? Was that the next one? His follow-up?
I know the movie. I don't know if he was the one.
It was great.
It was great. I like that too.
Mila Jovovich, and then
who would have thought that she turned into an action star?
It's crazy, right? Yeah. You know, you got Return to the Blue Lagoon, and then Leland Cooper Dallas Multipass.
Right.
You know. Right. So yeah, and so he asked me to write it, and I'm like, sure. He goes, he told me that it needed to be a gun kata heavy issue because it's a one-shot, and I'm like, perfect. And then I was just trying to think, what would be a rad story that, hasn't been told already about Libria and gun kata and the Grammaton clerics, and I'm like, what's cooler than Grammaton monks? Right?
Yeah. Right.
And so then, I kind of pitched that story and they liked it and let me run with it.
That's awesome. So for me, Equilibrium is special because I feel like this is the movie that made Christian Bale Batman. If he doesn't do this movie, he's done. He doesn't get cast by Christopher Nolan.
He's doing Newsies Part 2.
I was playing the DVD in my shop continuously, and I was like telling people, dude, it came out, the DVD came out when they were announcing that he's gonna go up for Batman. I'm like, it's Batman. He's doing Batman in Equilibrium.
Totally, yeah.
And then he went to do Batman and he sucked at it.
I mean, I
got Equilibrium, so I'm good with it.
You got Equilibrium. Batman's a whole nother,
Yeah.
I got Equilibrium.
Because that's a whole nother show.
I can feel the thumbs down on the video coming right now. That's fine. We'll get past it. We'll get past it.
So yeah, and it's I thought that doing the Grammaton monks would be a super rad thing, and I wanted to make something that was just cool, and it happened,
So you're throwing a lot of terms at me here. Does this story go deeper? How deep does the Equilibrium universe go? Because I'm only familiar with the feature film.
So they did like a prequel, I think, to or a sequel to Equilibrium.
Okay.
I think they did a prequel. American Mythology did.
Yeah, they had a
prelude.
They had the prelude. Yeah, they had.
So I kind of took it. So the book starts like in the future, and the Resistance has won, and people are starting to feel again. And so the story starts with an old man who's telling a story about what happened before all of this, when they were still trying out Prosium. So it kind of is a prequel to everything. Because I wanted to do something new. It's like you can read any comic book today, and it's everything's been done to death. You have cool stories, you add new characters to things, but like, how often do you have a chance to like add something to a universe?
Right.
So whether or not it becomes canon in the Equilibrium world, I think Grammaton monks being able to do gun kata with full emotion is the coolest shit in the world.
Yeah.
So, and what I tried to do in the book, which I definitely had some first book things that I've now learned upon reading the book, which I love and is the greatest thing ever. But I definitely would do things differently just because I've actually seen how it, from script to page.
Okay.
Where I've read it before.
Yeah, it's different when you read it on black and white.
Totally,
just
and
words,
I've edited Phil Hester,
right?
And like done those things, and I've seen it and made comic books, but I've never done it myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it changes. So there's one of the things that I tried to get across in there is like, so the Grammaton monks, their jam is kind of like a Midnighter-esque where they could see 50 moves ahead because they've mastered gun kata. And all their emotion is like just with them,
right?
And so it's how they're able to, be the best of the best. So and I kind of got it in there, but it could have worked it in better. But it's a rad element that's in the book.
Okay, and let's talk about the process of writing the book.
Yeah.
So you said you worked on screenplays and stuff in the past.
Yes.
So this is like your first actual comic book. What's the writing process? How is it different than writing a feature or a TV spec or whatever?
So I have. I don't know if I'm a traditional writer or I don't think I am because I'm I write many different ways. I'll either just start writing and then just let whatever happened like tell the story, which is kind of a
take over, kind of yeah.
That's a shitty way to do it because then you don't have anything laid out and you're just kind of free flowing.
Right.
And it works for me. But then with Equilibrium, I came up with a story that I thought was rad, and then I wrote the outline, which was like a 3-4 page document that kind of breaks down the whole thing. So it's kind of doing that, and I'm able to fix things and move it around. And the original story was longer, but I had to edit I think 4 pages out,
right?
Which is a bum out because I never had to do that before. So I was like, this sucks.
Oops. Like, oh my god,
how do I fix this without rewriting the whole book? And then from the outline to which basically helps me write the script really easy. For all you young writers out there. Got a solid outline, because then you can just take your outline and then just stretch it out.
Right.
And that's kind of how that worked with Equilibrium.
How do you let the artist know, like in this panel? Like, how does that process
Did you have
work
interaction with
the
the
artist
artist?
go down
So
when
this
you're
is
writing
actually
it out? Yeah.
this whole process was kind of funny and weird to me because I didn't even know. So I'm I don't know if I could say this or not, but I'm doing a Stargate Universe book, a couple of them with American mythology, which is rad.
You let us know later.
I'll let you know later. Right. So, but I wasn't sure. I turned in my script. I didn't get any notes. So I was like, fuck, I'm like the greatest writer in the world. I didn't hear anything about it. Like, I turned it in a while ago.
Here comes DC knocking on your door.
Totally. And so, but then I was like, and then they called me because they wanted me to start working on a Stargate thing, which which is my favorite, sci-fi show ever. And I'd been working on that for a long time. And so then they're like, hey, and by the way, here are the first 10 inked pages of Equilibrium.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, what? And it was so bitchin'. So I was like super excited about that. And then the way it works when you're doing it's to me, writing a comic book is harder, I think, than a screenplay. Maybe
because you gotta cut stuff out of that. The artist has a different interpretation.
And you gotta make the pan. So to answer your question, I never met Clint before, who was drawing the book, and I reached out to him on Facebook and I friended him. I'm like, hey dude, you're drawing my first book and it looks fucking rad. So I was really excited.
Yeah.
And so
he did a great job. I mean, to cut in real quick.
Yeah, no, please.
This scene right here, it's just like it's the opening scene in Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Dark, you see the bullets fly. I mean, he captured, in my opinion, I think he did a great job capturing what it is.
So one of the lessons that I've learned is when writing it, you really have to be descriptive for the artists because the artists have such hard work to do.
Right.
And I've always, writers are awesome and they write the stories, but the artists, their job is fucking insane. They
have to translate. They
gotta
got to be in your head without being in your head.
And they have to do it in a timely manner and make it look fucking rad like Clint did.
So they're kind of like the directors?
I think so. I mean, so when you write a script for a comic book, you basically, as much as you could fit in, because you want to make their job as easy as possible.
Right.
And artists have if they're doing a cover, then and you don't want to be specific, then they can just do their thing.
Yeah.
But like if they have to do a 20-page book, and there's like one a splash page or 6 panels or 7 panels on a page, you got to tell them everything that's happening in that page. So it makes it easier for them, so they don't have to think about, oh shit, what do I have to, you know, draw for this jabroni?
Remember, I always say, you know, it's like some of these artists are so good at, like you take Frank Wiley with the Grant Morrison,
love
where
him so much.
where he understands Grant Morrison so much that he
Yeah, they've been
makes
working together for so long.
so long
Yeah.
again. So yeah, the artist is, you have
But-
to talk to them. They have to
totally.
understand.
So I, you know,
So you got to go like really heavy in your descriptions then.
Exactly. So
Okay.
with this, I didn't get to talk to Clint to work anything out. So I made some notes in the beginning, like, you know, they should be wearing their traditional black, you know, garb, or not like their white, you know,
Right.
fancy uniform. Some things like that. But then when you're doing the descriptions of, you know, each panel, so you got to say you got to think how many panels you want in a page.
Right.
You got to think how many, you know, dialogue bubbles are in the panel and if it's all going to fit. So, you know, there's one page I think that's kind of wordy. I call it my Hester page because Phil Hester loves, you know, writing lots and lots of dialogue. But it's, you know, it all fit perfectly, and I was super impressed and excited. And, you know, I think everyone at American Mythology and Clint, they made this the funnest, raddest.
I read it, and
experience.
it's a, you know what, if you're a fan of Equilibrium, which I am, straight shooter, like right there, like now I want to see these monks.
That's what
I want to see the monks.
Totally. I would see a movie where there's a bunch of people that like knew Gun Kata,
Right.
like better than the, you
And
know,
my
clerics.
understanding is what's the guy's name? The main guy in the first.
Preston.
Preston. I mean, he's actually developed. He's a martial artist himself, and he developed the
Yeah.
Gun Kata technique for the movie. So it's actually a technique.
Oh, the Kurt Wimmer guy.
Yeah.
Kurt Wimmer. Yeah. Yeah, he like invented Gun Kata, which is bitchin'. I mean,
it
in and
makes
of itself.
sense. The whole explanation where the gun, the bullet,
and
everything.
I think that's what made the movie so awesome. Was like it just.
And you
So that's-
see
so
that.
that's what
You
I-
see that in a lot of. I've been reading. I read something just
I feel like it's
recently
been
where you
lifted
see
big
that.
time.
Yeah.
It's been
Totally. So I think the only to pay utter homage to that and to Kurt Wimmer's the opening page of the book is the description from the movie of what Gun Kata is.
Right.
You know, the study of all the battles throughout that, and it's just right because I'm like, nothing describes.
Look
what
at
this
John
is.
Wick. John
Totally.
Wick. I mean, oh my God, I love that movie. that could be he could be another
It's so
Grammaton
good.
cleric.
For
I mean,
sure. It could
He's
be
gonna
like
kill them all.
Before he could be the original father.
He could be, yeah. I mean, dude, because that whole scene with pop. I mean, it's like
It's so
insane.
good.
Yeah, so
It's
it's been
so
lifted.
good.
I mean, Gun Kata is present in a lot of other.
Oh, for sure.
It's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Equilibrium yet, I mean, it's been out since 2002. Like, go ahead, get a copy of it.
2004.
Is it
Yeah,
2004?
yeah.
It kind of got better because the trench goes. Everybody
It
was
went
saying it
into
was
the
like
Matrix.
and I'm like, look, Matrix is
Well, there's also there was no huge name attached to it either. That's the other thing, you know.
No, because but Sean Bean gets killed in it, which is great.
Right.
You know, keeping
Oh,
up
what's
that.
his name? Oh, what's the actor?
Tay
Tay
Diggs is
Diggs.
in it.
Tay Diggs. He just like badass slice. I'm like, okay,
And that's
done.
how you know that a movie is fucking rad. Is they don't have to draw out like because they build this tension throughout. And when
Throughout the movie, yeah,
movies
right.
do this, and then they have big battles, and you're 90% of the time you're underwhelmed by the battle that just took place. But movies like Equilibrium, where they're building up this tension, and Tay Diggs is like, you know, I'm gonna fuck you up, and then Christian Bale's like, zoink, and you're like, well, that dude's dead. You're like,
That's
yes,
over, yeah.
for sure.
And then you actually had the fight between him and which was
It was awesome.
as cool as that Tay Diggs fight scene was. The following was
Yeah.
even better.
And even leading up to it, when Christian Bale,
Oh,
when they're
the
doing the
whole-
things, and
yeah.
he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, digga, 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 he's like, boing.
Doink.
And you're like, this is the greatest movie ever. If you haven't seen Equilibrium,
You have to.
although the whole movie's been spoiled, go see the movie. I promise you'll love
to spoil.
it.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's, 14 years old now.
Yeah, oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Those all those my son.
Yeah. You got so amped up
I
at
know.
Equilibrium. You went out, you're like, Rita, it's on. Let's make a baby.
Oh, that's funny. But no, it's a good book.
Thank you,
It's
thank
a really
you.
good
Yeah, I
for
mean,
your first shot.
hopefully you get to if they decide to reboot the franchise, maybe you'll get a stab at.
Hey, look,
throw
hey, if you
something out
guys,
there.
Kurt, if you're watching this, feel free to use the Grammaton monks because they're fucking rad. Yeah. And they can come back, you do a
Yeah.
sequel and have, there's still some like people teachings of the monks or, I don't know.
There's
Absolutely.
so much you can do with
Yeah.
it.
Totally.
So what? On a different topic, what are you reading now, comic book wise?
So, I'm kind of like a bad comic book guy because, you get married, you get the
Life
kids,
takes over.
Life takes over. I don't have room to buy books anymore, so this pisses Cat off, but I have
That's
to buy
okay.
digital.
I love you anyway.
So
You waste your money on digital because
I know, because I want to have something that's worth nothing.
Because again, you spend the same amount of money, and they give you free digital.
That I tell people all the time is Cat told me this, and it made perfect sense to me. It's, you know, if you buy a comic book, no matter how shitty the book is, at some point you could sell it for a cent if you need to.
Right.
Digital book, can't do anything with it, so it's useless.
Internet goes poof. There goes all your. You literally just
you're
up
literally
in the air.
wasting money. Yeah. But so what I'm reading now is I wore this in honor today to prove my fanboydom. I guess I don't know. I have like superhero time. I'm a DC guy, so I love DC. That's my universe. Thanos is my favorite character in the Marvel universe because I was a huge Infinity Gauntlet fan prior to this whole, you know, Marvel ruining my dreams. Even though I love all the movies, but I still Invincible's done now. Right?
No, I still have a few more issues, but it's.
So I'm still reading that. I'm almost caught up. Walking Dead, I still read, which I've been reading since, you know, issue 1, and I'm just in it now because I'm hoping at some point there's a goddamn end or solution or something.
And 3, I don't know how many. He announced issue 300, so it'll be another 8 years before we see an end.
So the book's good.
Oh, it's great.
I love it. It keeps every time I think it's getting stale.
No,
it just gets fucking better. And so I don't know where they're going with it and what they're doing with it, but
I think Negan was the turning point because I don't know if you remember what we would talk about, and I would say, man, this book is boring. It's just like watching Aliens and Predators. You know? He has to do something crazy for me to actually read it. And at issue 100, he introduced Negan and took a bat to glance. I'm like, oh shit, I'm on board. And it's been like literally non-stop since then, from the Whisperers to all the. It's like, dude, I thought that one issue they introduced when they're like in the dish, go like, oh man, they're talking. I'm like, are they evolving? But then you find out there's actually people dressed in them. Dude, how crazy is that?
It was incredible, and that's why I don't watch the show. Because
the show's good too, but
after season, my problem with Preacher too is
Preacher's not the same.
But I'm such a fan of the book, so when I started watching Walking Dead, I'm like, yeah, and then as each episode went on, I'm like, oh, that didn't happen,
but it's not supposed to.
I know, but
it changed a lot. Like because I watched the show before I read the book, and I went back and I got the omnibus, and I'm like, oh wow, that person died instead of that person, and that person.
Well, how popular is the actor?
But it was also Rick was such a slow burn to become who he is. Yeah. That in the show he's like that. Yeah. And it was such a rad journey to watch him become this person. So so Walking Dead, I still read. The Preacher, that was one of my favorite comics ever, and it's just so different from the book that I'm like, this doesn't need to be called Preacher. Just make it a show that's ripping off Preacher.
Right.
Which is what I don't understand. Like, because people that are watching that show don't know about the IP. They don't know about the comic book. They're just watching it because it's a new AMC bitchin' show. Right? So you don't need to like. My opinion is if you're gonna make a something from an original IP, this is a storyboard. All around here are storyboards
that's all it is.
Fucking movies.
All you have to do is figure it out and translate
it and fill in the gaps, and that's it. That's why the first Sin City was so fucking good.
Oh, it was
the dialogue was literally ripped from the page. Right. It was amazing. But and then they fucking veer so much, and that's what
commercial.
Totally. Yeah. That's what the whole DC universe is.
Preacher for me, I'm a big superhero reader. I always say I don't read anything outside of Marvel, DC, and Preacher has always been a book that I've sold. The only book I've ever sold with the money back guarantee. Yeah. I've had one person come back and say, "Oh, it wasn't that great." Dude, that book was insane.
It was amazing. I mean, to this day, I still read. I reread them, and I don't reread books. Yeah. I like it, except for Luther Strode was awesome to me. Like that. Did you ever read the Legend of Luther Strode or the Legacy of? If you get a chance, pick it up. It's fucking super good. The whole thing starts with like some nerdy nothing kid who's reading a comic book. And you remember in the 80s they used to have like, get the X-ray glasses and get strong. So the get strong thing in those comic books was an actual method that certain people can learn, and they become these like just super fucking badass superhero dudes that are like no nonsense. They don't fuck around.
They're supposed to come out with another sequel. I think I saw a solicitation for another.
And another one. I'm like, these are that stick in my mind because they were so good. Was Last of the Greats, which is fucking amazing.
So I never heard that one.
The only good thing about digital comics, and this is how I found Luther Strode and how I found Last of the Greats.
Track down out of print.
They like when they were faux pas. Is you get to see all the new books that are coming out. Fox Pogs. Part Dwox is you see all the new books that are coming out, and like a comic book store might not get some rando book.
Right.
There's some robot book that I got also digitally, but it's Last of the Greats is awesome. Luther Strode is awesome. Invincible's awesome. Walking Dead. I still get Aquaman and Flash, but I'm so far behind on them. And Green Lantern. That's like, do I want to get caught up and then like I fall in love
Hal
with-
Jordan, Green Lanterns is useless.
Yeah, Hal Jordan's is good.
Hal Jordan.
I don't even want to get into Green Lantern. I have so many Green Lantern books that people just don't care, and I you know, the Ryan Reynolds movie ruined a lot of that, and just people.
The movie wasn't good in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
All the shit in outer space and Oa was fine, but like the greatest thing that Green Lantern ever did was the Blackest Night.
Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
There was nothing cooler in the history of comic books than that.
No, it was
because like
pretty badass.
Superman can live and die and become the golden god a million years from now, and all this whatever you want to do, but like those guys will always stay the same, and they're always. But then you have Green Lantern, who you've known and loved forever. And I hated Kyle Rayner at first. Like I fucking hated him. But then I've kind of accepted him, just like Wally West. I wasn't a big Wally West fan, and then you like learn to love him. But they took the Green Lantern and they added something completely new, but totally obvious. And you're like, holy fucking shit, Jeff Johns is my hero.
No.
And it was so good. And my original plan, I mean, I had this like for decades, but then I was like, I want to get all the different ones.
Like I remember you were talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
You still can.
My wife's like, no. I have the speed formula here, which is good. I got that kind of recently on my Flash arm. So, but yeah, but that was the greatest. Aside from the Infinity Gauntlet and Blackest Night, my two favorite runs of anything ever.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you reading?
Nothing.
No,
I'm reading. I have an 8-month-old baby.
I try to pop in here and there. Like I was just, a lot of people online were hyping up Vinegar Teeth.
What the hell's Vinegar Teeth?
It's
Dark Horse.
It's a Dark Horse book. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of a horror book. Like they're like some lab experimentation becomes sentient and they make him a detective. Like immediately, it sounds rad, but then you read it. The art's terrible. The
That's like,
dialogue was a little cheese dick, and I was like, So
It's that 30 Days a Night syndrome.
Yeah.
Where it's the best story in book, but then the art is just unreadable.
Right, and
Like,
it's
I
tough. It's tough. Like I tried to get a few years ago. I tried to get into Fractions Casanova,
Yeah.
but the same thing. The art is just so bad that I
It's a bum out.
yeah. It's and I don't know why. Like I mean, the guy has his little goofy style, but it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
You know, so
It is weird that if I never thought about it because I've always read just mainstream comics,
Right.
and even random ones. The art was good, but it wasn't until 30 Days a Night when I'm like, I love the idea of this and I love the story, but the art is just so not to my palate.
what you can afford.
And it's crazy.
That's
It's
what
crazy.
you can afford when you're not Marvel or DC.
Yeah.
I mean,
But there's so many talented people. Like
you gotta start somewhere. You know,
you just gotta find them.
well, no, yeah, you do, but again, it's pay rate. Everybody expects this. These two nowadays, with money being as little as it is, nobody wants to pay what everybody thinks they're worth. So
Well, yeah, luckily I got $1,700 a page for equal. So, but yeah,
it's tough
It's
times.
a tough industry.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's tough times for comics, but it's still a good product to enjoy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
For sure. That's fun. I mean, look, if you're
beats
watching,
drinking and smoking.
if you're watching this right now, obviously you like comic books, but it's your job to, they're rad stories.
Yeah.
That are just fun, and it's a great escapism. And if you don't want to read a novel because you don't want to, work to imagine it, let the artist,
let
do it
them
for you.
do it
and
for
read
you.
a
That's a
comic book.
great analogy right there.
It
yeah.
totally is. Like I'll sit down and read a book, but then
I
I'll
never
get
put
tired.
it like that.
I'll read a
I haven't
comic
read a
book
man. I'll tell you, I haven't read a books since I opened this business since I got into it back in '94. The last book I read was R.A. Salvatore's The Crystal Shard trilogy, and that was like
rad.
Lord of the Rings meets Fast and Furious. It was like non-stop. I loved that book, and I'm jonesing to read it again. My son read it, and he loved it. My brothers reread it, saw me every time. Dude, did you read it again? I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
But it's a great book too. But this, I can pick up a comic book and just flip. I'll read every page, but
you're done.
I'm done.
You're
I'm
just
like
trained to do it.
yeah, it's-
And hey, if you guys want to read the Game of Thrones books, there's a Game of Thrones comic, and maybe that's how you can get through that shit because it's a fucking
super thick.
dense fucking
Yeah.
brick and like
Wild cards. That's my
I'm
jam.
telling you, Crystal Shard, it's so easy to read. It's like literally Lord of the Rings on meets Fast and Furious. It's nonstop,
best.
nonstop.
That's a hell of a log line.
Yeah, that's how that's the pitch meeting.
But it's a good. It's
Lord of the
great,
Rings, Fast and Furious.
But it's a great read. I mean, some people don't like
Fantasy, Furious.
Fast Furious. That's
Right.
fine. Nobody's perfect, but I want a book to move. I don't have time to
the
to
building
sit.
is-
I
yeah.
mean, it's like, dude, how many books do you build? No, just give me going. I want to come back. So
Run.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for us. You got anything you want to plug? Other than
I would
the
love
book,
to.
you know?
So yeah, Equilibrium. Check out. You can
It's
get
still
it now.
available. If
Still
your
available.
dealer-
Just
yeah.
came out on.
If Diamond does, I mean, if
Oh
your
look,
deal-
Stargate. I'll be doing that.
if
What up?
If your local shop doesn't have it, they're still available from Diamond. They can reorder. Ask them.
Yep.
You can
And
always
then
come
we'll
to-
be in on Saturday. You'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
from
So
12 to
if you
3.
have, when's this posting?
Video's not gonna be.
Oh
up.
yeah.
Well then, never mind.
So-
If you guys build a time machine, go back to February 3rd and I'll sign your book for you. Or if you're in Los Angeles and you see me like slumming around the streets. But you know what you can do if you're not tired of me yet. I co-host a show for the Predator. Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Right.
Fox has the Predator official fan app, and I do a show called The Rundown with a dude named Dave Walters.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so if you have an Android or iPhone, which is pretty much everyone in the world, download the Fox, the Predator official fan app, and you can check out that show. And we, talk about Predator. It's like the Talking Dead, but for Predator.
Okay.
But
Oh,
we get
nice.
like rad props from Predator and
Nice.
yeah, and we get all the information of movies coming out. So all the latest, greatest, hottest stuff is coming at you live. So yeah, check it out. It's rad. New episode of The Rundown, which I co-host, just dropped today.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have what about social media? Your Twitter,
Social media, yes,
Instagram?
you could hit me up on the I don't know. You can go to Facebook and try and find me because I'm really cute. But go to Instagram. I'm at Breakneck, or you can just type in Tory Ireland Mell. That's me. I'm on Twitter at Tory Mell. And I don't know. Is there any other social media? YouTube? I don't put anything on YouTube, but I'm really cute. And I think that's that.
Okay. All right, Tory. Well, thanks for sitting down with us.
Thank you,
We really
thank you.
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Get on that book if you haven't read it yet. If you haven't found it yet, try to find yourself a copy.
Do
It's a
it.
good
Call
book.
your local store and tell them to order it.
And watch
It's
the
still available.
Or just go to Comixology.
Yeah.
What? No.
Oh.
How dare you?
Don't do
no,
that.
I'll tell you this before I go, that I bought it opening, right when it dropped on Wednesday because I had to do it, but I needed to get paper copies because it's my first goddamn comic book. And I'll always, whenever I do more comic books, because I will do more, I'll always get paper because I made them and it's rad.
It's a business card.
Yeah.
It is. I'm like, here you go.
This is what I can do.
I know. I should have had Alex Ross do the cover. I blew it. Shit. Thank you so much, guys.
All right,
Tori,
folks,
thank you
and
for
know
being
the
here.
drill. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe, ring the bell if you're subscribed, and leave comments. Let us know what you think. We're also on iTunes and every other iPod, SoundCloud. I can't remember my podcast websites, but we're on all of them. So Stitcher, what's that one cast?
Suture, Stitcher.
Yeah, every we're on every podcast service available. So make sure to give us a review, 5 stars, please, so other people can find the show. And we will see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Oh, and if you hate it, don't do anything. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, dude, that was awesome, Tori. That's vintage Tori right there.